Welcome back. Welcome back to Politically Speaking, and I'm here today with two of my greatest guests, Jim Cornish, Debbie Martinez, and we're discussing issues that are very important to you. And I'm Charles Goston, the former city commissioner for District 1, and let's talk about, Debbie, some of these amendments that's going to be voted on.
Oh, especially that last one right below the GRU referendum.
Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about
sure.
that one.
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about that, Debbie. And tell them why that's destructive as far as what they have been getting done for them and what won't get done if they give them another year.
3 of these city commissioners that voted for this devastating biomass contract got voted out of office, lost their reelection. Lauren Poe got ousted out of his District 2 seat. Susan Botcher got voted out of her District 3 seat. Mayor Craig Lowe got voted out of his mayor seat. He lost his reelection. So, because people are starting to wake up on the east side, not fast enough, but they started waking up and voted these characters out of office. So, what they want to do now is move our standalone spring elections to the fall so they can hide their dirty deeds. So
hide
nobody,
hide the ball.
They don't.
Wow.
We got to keep the sunshine on them. So that last one, not only do they want to move our standalone spring city elections from the spring to the fall so they can hide their dirty deeds, they're into a power grab. They want to extend their 3-year terms to 4-year terms. It's the very last referendum on the ballot, and you vote no to extending their terms 4 years.
Read it out, Ms. Martinez.
Okay. What it says is, shall the city charter be amended? Oh boy, I didn't bring my glasses. Go, Jim.
I'll read it.
You got glasses on.
The last question is, shall the city charter be amended to require elections for mayor and commissioners every other year in even number years, coinciding with statewide elections rather than every year, beginning with the regular election in 2022, and to change the terms of office of the mayor and the city commissioners from the current 3-year terms commencing in May to 4-year terms commencing in January 2023, and to provide traditional terms of office as proposed by ordinance number 160876. This is a very complicated process.
If you're not confused yet, then vote no.
Because you're converting 7 3-year seats up for election every year to 7 4-year seats up for election every other year.
But the bottom line is it's a power grab to extend their 3-year terms to 4-year terms and to move our standalone spring elections where we get the media attention, because we're not having to compete with the governor. We're not having to compete with the president. We're standalone city elections, and the media gives us attention on our issues that we need, and they want to hide their dirty deeds in the fall and no on that very last referendum. And the one right above it, you vote yes for the GRU authority. We're taking back our utilities.
Well, we got to take back our city government first. I mean, how can you have 12 people who belong to one organization? And see, let me explain this. And maybe I'm not crystallizing or driving it home as clearly as I should, but these people can meet anywhere they want. When I was a city commissioner, the sunshine never shined on City Hall. And we're supposed to be abiding by the sunshine law. You can't have 2 commissioners that will come out, aren't supposed to be talking to each other. We have something on the city commissioner's docket to be talked about, and they said the same thing.
Wow.
And now I know, I only went to the University of Florida and graduated, and I took a class all 4 years. It was mental telepathy, and I failed it every time I took it. I don't know anybody who successfully went through that class, okay? But they think that we're that stupid. I'm telling you, they play you for being stupid. And the voters are not stupid. They shouldn't be. Look, we should get out of race politics. We should get out of being stupid, making people think that all you're going to do. See, look, this is something Harvey Ward been working on for a long time. Him and his little group, trying to get this on the ballot. They got it on there once, I think, and it was defeated.
No, they couldn't
get the signatures.
So what happened was Harvey Ward, he was running for county commissioner and he lost. He tried to get the signatures to get it on the ballot, and he couldn't get the signatures that he needed. So then he decided he's going to go run for city commissioner. So he gets elected to the city commission, and he convinces the other city commissioners, except for Charles Goston. He had enough brains to vote no. But he convinced every other city commissioner to put it on the ballot for them. So that's why it's on the ballot.
Harvey Budd went along with it.
He was the swing vote.
He was the swing vote.
But it was Harvey Ward who's sitting on the city commission.
Yes.
It was his baby to be able to move our standalone city elections to the fall where they can hide their dirty deeds and all their planned political pet projects that they have. That'll be funded on the backs of lower income people.
Well, Debbie, I want to ask this, very important question. I want to know, are the people on the east side, are you sick and tired of seeing all the progress on the west side? Now, there is a thing that was called and labeled with a nomenclature across the track politics. And black folks understood what that meant, that if you lived across the tracks, forget it. And you can see that right now. Follow University Avenue from Newberry Road at I-75 all the way to Waldo Road, and you see every amenity that you could possibly think of. But by the time you get to Waldo Road, you see one Walgreens, a Kentucky Fried Chicken, you have a couple of auto parts shops, and you know why you have 3 auto parts shops on East University? I know you never thought about that.
Never thought of that.
Okay, let me
explain.
drive
old cars.
Exactly. There you go. Jim hit it on the head.
Wow.
Because the people on the east side have already been identified as not being able to afford a new car, so they put the auto parts on there to keep fixing your old car.
Wow.
All right? And so I'm telling you that, see, this is why they were so intimidated by me on the city commission. See, when you take the oath to be a commissioner, you take the oath for the people, not for the DEC, not for the Black Caucus, not for anybody else. And anybody who is that stupid to continue to go around and embrace something that you know is choking the life out of your people, really, you need to be really put out of the community and never allowed to do a thing.
Let me give you one example. Where was Cynthia Chestnut when Begin Hanrahan and Tommy Hawkins and Mastro DeCasa and Craig Lowe were shoving this multi-billion-dollar biomass contract down our throats? She was nowhere around, but it was former president of the NAACP, Dr. Michael Bowie, Charles Goston, that spoke up for lower income people and said, don't do this, it's going to hurt lower income people, don't do it. But Cynthia was missing in action. So when you get ready to vote, are you going to listen to Cynthia Chestnut, or are you going to listen to Charles Goston and vote yes for that GRU referendum?
Well, right. They do everything they can, even in this election. When I got in, I was requested by a group of independents to join the senatorial race. Okay, now, in an interview in The Guardian, I don't know whether it was Cynthia Chestnut or somebody, said, well, he's not advertising. Who in the hell is supposed to dictate when I advertise? The same thing that this guy from the Gainesville Sun said when he lied about my magazine, where I get my articles from. What is that? Okay? Who are you to ask me where I get my articles from when I'm not asking you? See, this is what I'm saying. That is the perfect example of racism in full force. All right? That you own my plantation. And this is what they're trying to the things they did to me, Annie Orlando, and I've got some of the mailers they sent
out about Annie. She ran.
And Jim. It was appalling. It's beyond. And look at the fact that they never supported Clovis Watson Jr. In neither one of his bids to be elected or re-elected. They never supported Bonnie Burgess. They never supported Annie Orlando. They never supported Jim, because none of us are stupid enough to walk in and say, "Where's that paper? Let me sign it."
Wow.
Just to be a part of that group. I would rather go down in history as the one who stood up against this kind of conglomerate group think.
They want you to be loyal to their little cult instead of the people you're representing, and you wouldn't do it. Jim wouldn't do it. Annie Orlando wouldn't do it either. Neither would Ray Washington.
Right.
Sadie, Sheriff Darnell would.
Yeah. Nope. So I'm just saying, look, let's be realistic. the people who have done the most for this community are the ones that they hate the most. Because see, if you can get away with doing nothing and being rewarded for it, that's a good trip for somebody. But when you have to work for something, none of them have worked for anything. Okay? Nothing. And like I said, I cannot interact with a family and make myself somebody special. I've been working for everything I got ever since I was in high school. And I had to find somebody to say I didn't. But then they walk around and see, because of that thing called envy, and because of that thing called lack of motivation, because of that thing called, no respect for your own self and others, is the reason that the black community is where we are today. And we listen to the wrong people who have never done one thing for anybody. This is why I encourage the ministers of our community. I wouldn't let these people in my church who come in there to try to hurt the people that you looking at every Sunday, preaching to them, and they going home taking those prayers with them. How am I pay this utility bill?
Charles, they're tax exempt. They're not supposed to be engaged in political activity at all anyway. It's not consistent. It's not supposed to be a place for politics.
It's against the law when you're tax exempt.
Well, you could lose your tax exemption if you're using your church for political purposes. I mean, Jerry Falwell knows how to do it, but I'm not sure.
And some of
local
these churches have political signs right on their property.
That is not appropriate. That's not contemplated.
Well, I mean, Jim, it may not be appropriate, but like I said before, people get caught up in thinking that some people who are what they're not. And see, for one, it's illegal for the NAACP to even participate in politics. Okay? They're not even supposed to do it. It's illegal. But you think that stops them? It sure doesn't. The same way it doesn't stop them when they violate Florida State Statute 104, I think, .6, where you're not supposed to go into the homes of voters lying on candidates and telling them who not to vote for, and then telling those who are not capable of filling out an absentee ballot, I'll fill it out for you.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I'll even sign it for you. Okay?
Yeah.
This is one reason that I have suggested to the supervisor of elections, move your box where you can put in these absentee ballots, where you can film who's putting those ballots into the box.
With a camera on it.
With a camera on it. And when they're putting more than 3 in there, you should take them to jail. Okay, you can't have people putting 20 and 30 and 40 ballots in the box. You can't do it. And this is how they won a lot of elections, man, lying in the community to people. Like they said, and it was a Tea Party. When has the Democratic Party had a wing of the Tea Party? When did that happen? Did I miss that?
It's hate speech.
Well, how they got away with it is because our city elections are nonpartisan. So when you run by law, you're not running by a party. You're running by just an individual. So on the ballot, Jim Conish didn't have a D behind his name, but even though he's a Democrat, because they're a nonpartisan election. Commissioner Charles Goston, when he ran for his reelection, there wasn't a D behind his name, because even though he is a Democrat, he's not a Democratic candidate. So people just see Annie Orlando, there's no D behind her name. They believe Robert Hutchinson and Pegeen Hanrahan, who gave $250 each to this out-of-town PAC, that said that Annie Orlando was a Tea Party candidate. They don't know Annie Orlando's a Democrat because they're nonpartisan city elections. That's how they get away with it.
Well, Debbie, let me go back and revisit this statement once again. When I established the voters guide, it was designed for that purpose. So that a person, whether they had a D or didn't have a D, you would know who the person or the candidate is. And do they have your interest in heart? See, look, Hutchinson, like I said, I do not like him. And I don't like him for specific reasons, okay? Now, he can disguise himself as he loved the homeless. Well, hell, give some of the minority community some of that love, Hutchinson.
Let him pop a pup tent on his property instead of over in East Gainesville.
Right. And I'm just saying, why is it that, he only deals with one specific person in the black community? And he got mad at me. I'm going to tell you why Hutchinson got mad at me. Because I questioned, why did he pay Evelyn Fox $2,500 to get him into the black churches when he ran for his re-election bid? Now, he got mad because of that. And she had down there on his financial report that she was a political consultant.
And how much did he give to the PAC to try to get lower income people to vote no to lower their tier?
$100.
Is that an ethical practice?
No, it's not ethical.
No, that's what you call being a hypocrite.
He's on the utility advisory board now.
Right.
Non-voting member.
Right.
And
County
he
Commission put him on.
fought. What year was that he fought for campaign finance reform to keep big money out of our local elections? And then he's going behind,
Yes.
thinking nobody
It's
knows,
unscrupulous.
and giving out-of-town PACs money to take down good candidates who are
Totally
Democrats.
unscrupulous.
He is the same one who was in bed with the Gainesville Sun, and the person who is the editor. What's his name?
Crab?
Yeah, Nathan Crabb.
Nathan Crabb, and the other.
Editorial editor.
Oh, the publisher,
Dalton.
Yeah, Dalton.
Yeah, but not him. What's the other one? That's running both papers.
Not Harvey, Douglas Ray.
Douglas Ray. Let me tell you something. And the guy who they brought in from New Jersey, who is supposed to be the one Gainesville guy, all of them. I mean, let me say this. Let me give you some good
the Gainesville for All guy
Right.
who came here.
James Lawrence.
Yeah, but
Right.
he's not from our community.
he's not.
He's from New York.
No, he's an interloper. Let me say this to you. A person with a degree in journalism who owns a publication and a production company like I do, you go for an interview for your election. Now just think about this now. And I've been in business 43 years. And Harvey Budd has been in communications for at least 45 or 50 right along with me. We go in for an interview. You have two women who are running against us, never walked in the radio studio, never walked in the TV studio, wouldn't know anything about communications if you put a gun to their head.
Right.
But these four people, the guy that wrote the article on me, and I can't think, I see him now, he's the overweight guy.
Andrew
Kaplan. Doug Ray, and another two people, and that's the other guy you called that does
Nathan Crabb.
Nathan Crabby. Now, they gave the endorsement to these two ladies who couldn't even answer the question. Wow. They were saying, oh, well, whatever Mr. Goston said.
You know what the ultimate irony is, Charles? I have their GRU bill.
Yeah.
Now, they're roommating with the alligator trying to stay afloat. Both of them.
Right. You're talking about the Gainesville Sun?
The Gainesville Sun per month shells out up to $40,000 a month to GRU. $40,000.
Yeah, but probably who's their biggest advertiser? GRU. So
I don't know anything about that, but they are dying worse than anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Because the way that building's designed, it's just an open design, and it was never designed around the kind of utility bills that they've partially responsible for. They're suffering more than anybody.
Right. And Devin, let me ask this question. That's why I want people to understand where my animus comes from. They have never done a fact check on any other candidate or elected official but me. You understand?
Do you know how much Andrew Kaplan makes an hour?
How much?
$9 or $10.
Wow. You know what? That's
because
not enough.
I have tenants that work for
them. Right. That's not enough money for me to be nasty, John.
But we talk about fact checking commissioners. How about some background checks and some doing a little bit of urine testing on some of our city commissioners,
wow.
like Commissioner Hayes. He's got hyphenated names. Adrian Hayes Santos and Commissioner David Areola. Did we do any background checks on them? Were there any DUIs? Were there any drug arrests? You know,
piracy of intellectual property.
But let me tell you this, Debbie. This is what they did, and I want people out there in this audience to understand this. Andrew Kaplan wrote an article. This is what he did initially. He called the library asking them, are you advertising with Black College Monthly? And the director told him, no, because Commissioner Goston said he didn't want to present any improprieties by advertising in this publication while he was a commissioner. Now, he went to other commissioners asking, well, did he force you to? All that came out of Hutchison's mouth. But not only did he write the article, they weaponized that article about my publication, which was 100% true, and sent it to two of my advertisers for the state and had them to question and suspend my advertising contract with them. Okay? Now, all because I stood up against Begin Hanahan, and I stood up against Cynthia Chestnut, I stood up against Henson Rawls, who did nothing for 3 years but sit up there and protect Begin, never wanted to talk anything about. And Jim was coming to the commission meeting. They didn't even discuss GRU problems.
Because you were the voice of lower income people and helping them with their GRU bills and letting the public know that they did nothing wrong. It was the city commission and GRU management that brought this crime of giving us the highest utility bills in the state. And we're going to take back our utility. We're going to get a GRU authority, but you've got to go out and vote yes to do it. Otherwise, they're planning to raise your bills all the way through 2023. Don't let that happen.
And that's the truth.
You know what's really sad? There are people crawling in the manholes going down into the sewer lines. They are up in bad weather working on high voltage. They're facing the angry ratepayer paying the bills. And they cannot even go into the grocery store with the GRU logo without being treated poorly by all the victims.
It's true.
They get it.
That's
The meter
what
readers.
yes.
Not management, not commissioners.
That's the problem. Our
The working
GRU
people
employers
are the biggest victims.
Yes, and they shouldn't be punished. It's GRU management that's
And the
destroyed
commissioners.
the fine workers. And I want everybody to remember this. If your power goes off the next couple of days, don't expect it to come back on real quick, because GRU management's sending what few linemen we have left, because we're $2 billion in debt because of this biomass boondoggle.
And we're not paying
They're
them
sending
enough.
them to Mexico Beach and Panama City. So if our power goes out in the next couple of days, we're not going to have the people that we need here to protect us and to get our power back on.
Well, like I said, we have done our due diligence to bring this information to everybody. And you can go online and watch this interview on
YouTube.
On YouTube.
We'll have it on the Facebook
and on Facebook. You can watch it.
You go to YouTube what?
I haven't uploaded it yet, but when we get the link, it will be on the YouTube page that we have for the station.
Yeah, it'll be on the WMBT YouTube link.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when you see these thumbs up signs to vote yes for GRU referendum, that's how you vote to lower your GRU bill. Don't be afraid.
Well, I'm just saying to people, look, we cannot send anybody to Tallahassee who's afraid to stand up and fight. We cannot keep electing people that Cynthia Chestnut and them select for us. See, one thing that I would never do, I can't marry a woman that my daddy selected for me.
Wow.
Okay, because I'm the one who got to wake up to her every day. So I tell them, if you selected her, you marry her. Okay?
That only happens when your daddy has really big money.
Yeah, I know. So what I'm saying is that's what they're doing to you. We have to stop letting these people from the west side, and I kept saying it during my campaign. You as a person on the east side could never pick up the phone and call Pekin or anybody else and say, you know what? I don't like Hutch Hutchinson. Let's try to get him out of office. She'll slam the phone down in your face.
Yeah.
Okay, but she can call Albert White, Sherwin Henry, or anybody like that, Yvonne Henson, or any of them.
Who are supposed to be looking out for us on the east side, but
Right.
they're telling people to vote against our best interests.
Exactly, and that's the sad part of it. Yvonne Henson Rawls sat up in the seat for District 1. And all she could come up with in 3 years was, let's tax the bicycle riders. Okay? But yet and still she walks around being pompous and nasty and doing everything that she can do. But I promise you, if the policeman catch her or any one of our people putting up another one of my signs,
Wow.
they're going to jail, and I'm going to prosecute them as far as I can take it. Okay? Because I don't do that. One thing I can say about Debbie and all the people that were on my team the first and the second time, the first thing that they all agreed that we would never do, we would never go dirty. We would never go dark.
Wow.
Okay? And we never did.
Ran a positive campaign.
You see, we ran a campaign of respect for the other candidates. And that's why I never questioned when Gigi came in talking about she had a light bulb moment. And here it is, you work for the city only because you was working through temp force.
Right.
Okay? And so what Cynthia Chestnut has done, effectively, is said that, well, anybody can represent District 1. They don't mean anything. People don't mean nothing. Okay? And that's what we have reduced the city commission to.
It all comes down to the biomass crime. Anyone who speaks up to defend lower income people who got screwed paying the highest utility bills in the state because of a few elite West Side folks who decided they wanted to get their political merit badge, thinking they're saving the world from global warming with a huge biomass plant that we didn't even need. They're going to go after anyone who speaks up for the lower income people. And that's what happened.
Right. And once again, you know, like I said, Jim has nothing to gain from this.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, Jim could just say, I quit. And he can go to the Bahamas or Hawaii and you know, and have fun. Debbie's retired. She's a nurse who did all of her time helping folks. Her husband's retired. I can retire any moment. But I'm saying there's something greater than us that keeps us doing this.
People have to understand the sacrifices other citizens make to keep us from having to leave this town. You know, I when I realized how little I had done and how many sacrifices other people made, I was actually ashamed.
Right.
That's what motivated me to get off the sideline, because I just became aware that a lot of the things that were very important for me were hard fought victories by unselfish citizens, and everyone's got to, you know, be a part of the solution.
Right.
I
Can't just
agree.
leave it to the other guy.
Right.
Yeah, my parents made sure that our generation had a safe and affordable place to live, and now that I'm retired, I feel like it's my duty to give back and make sure that the least amongst us have a safe and affordable place to live too.
Yes.
And this referendum finally gives us a chance to vote to lower our GRU bill. Don't let those West Side elites tell you that you don't deserve lower utility
They deserve
bills.
to be fired, and they deserve to be fired on November 6th.
Right. And I agree. And like I said, if they had an opposing view, they wouldn't have to pull up the yes sign. See, you don't, even if you've got a qualified candidate will use his or her qualifications, hoping that the voters will represent and recognize that. But when you don't have qualifications, every dirty trick in the book, every dirty trick in the book. And I can tell anybody, I've never done anything politically where I had to be dirty. See, a lot of people can't stand the truth. And the people that we call their names, they can't deal with the truth, but they made this truth. They created this truth. And I always tell people, if you don't like the history, don't make it.
This GRU referendum did not come from Rick Scott. It came from the citizens of the city of Gainesville, and don't forget it.
Right. Thank you very much.
And
how
if
much
you
time?
don't like your GRU bill, then you vote yes. It's a second referendum on the back of your ballot from the bottom called municipal referendum. You vote yes.
And I'd like to say thank you to Jim Collins again for coming on as a guest, Debbie Martinez
Oh, thank
for coming
you,
on
Charles.
Politically Speaking. And like I said, this is a show that we needed a long time ago. We didn't have it. And now we do. And for the issues that affect not only just minorities, but everybody, this whole city needs to wake up. And I would not even go down and participate in this 150-year celebration of Gainesville, where you've got black people still suffering on the east side with no economic development, nobody who's going to speak up for them, you know, nobody who's going to invest in forward movement. There's no way I would participate in that. And the things that were implemented and given by the black community will not even be represented in this 150-year anniversary. But that's what the city manager and the mayor wants to do.
Wow.
Okay? And so I tell you that if you don't have anything else to do on that day, find something to do.
Right. Well, let me say something real quick, because we have a lot of listeners right here on your campus. You guys just saw mention your years and decades of public service. I'm going to first give you guys a formal thank you for that, just on behalf of the community and the younger generation. But
Appreciate that.
what would you guys like to see as far as from the next generation? Because you mentioned your parents and how they laid down the foundation.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to see the young generation do in order to further these efforts here? And Jim, feel free to jump right in.
Well, I think they're doing it. They're registering to vote, no party affiliation. I'm so encouraged to see young people registering and say, I don't want to be a part of either party,
Nice.
that they haven't served my interests. So I'm very encouraged by how young voters, more and more, when they register, it's NPA. Keep up the good work.
Nice.
And also, do their homework. Don't just vote what the local DEC tells you to do, because they have been advising us to vote against our better interest and for the special interest, and that has been the destruction of us.
Well, one thing I like to say is I'm like Jim. I'm running as an NPA because, you know, I have no confidence in either one of the parties. I mean, I'm a registered Democrat, but I don't want to be associated. Let me say this. I would not, it's just like if I went to med school And just because everybody knew my father or my mother, and they passed me through medical school, I didn't learn a thing. But now I'm supposed to do heart surgery on patients.
What
when
do
I
you
get
do
out.
now?
Okay?
Oops.
And I think that would be the biggest fatal tragedy.
Right.
All right? And all I can say is to those who are out there, you have had these kind of people performing heart and brain surgery on you for the last 40 years. And you need to stop it. You deserve better. You can get better, but only your vote will produce that. Okay? And for the young kids who are out there, I was there myself as a student, but I dedicated myself as a student. I didn't just go out there and go to class and went back and did this and got drunk. I didn't do any of that. I dedicated myself to enhancing the lives of those who didn't have.
Nice. Sound like you were.
And I thank you for that, Charles, because we wouldn't have the awareness that we have today had it not been for you serving the last 3 years on the City Commission.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Sound like you're a better behaved student than I knew Supreme Court Justice. Right?
Oh, yeah, I was. I never attacked anybody.
I don't think Charles was a drinker.
No, I was not.
Or a
What made
binge
you think about it?
drinker
You said I
either.
wasn't getting
No.
drunk. Well, hey man, you want to tease next week's topics at all? We got anything on?
Well, next week we're going to continue to have guests to come on and talk about these referendums because they are extremely important.
Yes, they
These
are.
are life-changing referendums.
Absolutely.
And we need to make sure that your vote is, because it's going to take about 30 minutes to go through this in November. So you need to know ahead of time and not just walk in and say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You can't do that. Because, if you do, you're going to continue to pay the price. And you should have paid enough by now to not do it that way.
I guess I'll be our closing remarks.
Okay.
Hey man, thanks a lot. I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you.
next week already. Jim,
Appreciate it.
Mrs. Debbie Martinez.
And here's my email address. I'm not computer literate, so if you'll send me the link to the YouTube
Absolutely.
video,
Absolutely.
so I can send it around. I have 300 people on my list, so they can watch the
I'll
show.
make sure I get that to you. And before we go, I just forgot. Can we plug the GRU? I mean the website again, please.
Yes. Citizen Coalition, that's singular, Citizen Coalition PC.org. Again, that's citizen singular, Citizen Coalition PC.org. And there are 4 links at the top where you can learn all about why it's so important that you vote yes on this GRU referendum to lower your GRU bills.
That's all right.
I talked to Keith Perry's legislative aide, and I send him all my talking points, all compiled with exhibits.
I took them all.
I could give him the article where, like, I'm retorting with Susan Boucher, line by line, and I gave him the table of contents. So I gave him everything he
He'll
needed.
be a kick-ass at that.
No,